with my just recent trip to Glasgow. As you know, since November the 1st, a UN conference is in progress in Glasgow. And this is very important discussions featuring the heads of states and government and experts with regards to the further developments in the world, the response that we need with regards to the global warming, the response that has to be taken on the part of the states and the businesses in order to prevent the global warming by more than 1.5 degrees, as mentioned by the Paris Accords. And Ukrainian delegation was under the chairmanship of the president, who delivered his own briefing during this conference. So we'll be setting the trends with regards to a number of very important issues, including the net zero carbon and many other aspects. And Ukraine took a very important commitments. Since we were part of the Ukrainian delegation for the first time, the commitments taken by different countries clearly indicate that it is possible to reduce the global warming and to prevent the global warming by 2.0 degrees. At least currently, the predictions say we would be able to reduce the global warming by 1.8 degrees. At the same time, I was deeply touched by the statements that the heads of the state would be able to agree on more than 2.0 degrees. In fact, this is a very difficult figure for us, because for us it would be important to have 1.5 degrees. I believe that every one of us, not only in terms of the state, but the businesses and the sector, they have to be very serious with regards of the commitments. Speaking on the decisions that was made in the course of the conference, most of the G20 countries have decided to ensure there would be net zero carbon by 2050. As you know, a couple of years ago, the UK and Canada has initiated a new alliance, a new initiative on net zero carbon, and more than 40 countries committed themselves to ensure they would be abandoning the use of coal by 2030 or 2040. Then a new initiative was introduced on reducing the methane emissions. Particularly, some of the countries mentioned the reduction of methane by 30% until the period of 2030. And methane is one of the very toxic gases that has a significant impact on global warming. That was a very important decision. Another decision was made that was supported by over 100 countries with regards to the preservation of forests. And those 100 countries, they have more than 85% of the forests. And that's a very important decision. And it's very good that Ukraine has been joined in those initiatives. This is a very important political signal of Ukraine at the international arena. And over the last 3 years, we are introducing very important statements with regards to our net zero carbon commitments. And those statements that were mentioned by President Zelensky, they allow us to say that we can be the leading nations in terms of the net zero carbon commitments in our region. We would need to reduce the emissions by 60% if compared to 1990 indicators. The European Union have introduced lesser commitments, but still we had a decrease in the development of economy, and therefore there was a reduction in the level of emissions. But still, this is a very important indicator for Ukraine. Another important statement was delivered by Ukraine with regards to joining the initiative on abandoning the use of coal, and Ukraine stated on the abandoning the use of coal until the period of 2035. And this is a very important statement for the further development of strategic plans for Ukraine. Reducing the methane emissions was also something that Ukraine has joined, introducing a commitment to reduce the methane emissions by 30% until the period of 2030. The issue of net zero carbon and the issue of emissions is something that energy sector has a very important role to play. And of course, the future development of the energy sector and the plans with regards to the use of the combination of the energy production facilities to introduce the fulfillment of these commitments. DTAG is a powerful actor, and in 2020 our company has committed to ensure net zero carbon by 2040. And I would say that we are the leaders in promoting these initiatives for Ukraine. This is the graph that demonstrates our mixture in the consumption of the electricity energy based on the strategy that we have for the period until 2030. As you can see, there is a reduction in the coal consumption for the electricity production, which is balanced by the renewables. At the same time, there is a statement with regards to abandoning the use of coal, and still we can see that 13% of the electricity would be produced with the use of coal, which is a controversy in terms of the statements released. And there were fairly ambitious plans with regards to the development of RAS, which would require the construction of the solar power stations, which are an important driver for the net zero carbon, and therefore we need to ensure the development of the storage facilities for the electricity. We were the first one to construct a project on the storage facilities for electricity. Now we are about to launch another project for 50 megawatt. And I would say that the pilot project has produced a significant promotion with regards to the development of the energy sector. And we are showing the rest of the companies, the investors, that we do need those storage capacities and there is a need to invest in that. Speaking about the green hydrogen, as you're well aware, the EU strategy has a special role for Ukraine in terms of the production of the green hydrogen. Ukraine has already been mentioned in the strategy, and part of the production capacities with regards to the green hydrogen are being allocated to Ukraine. This is yet an important aspect with regards to attracting the investments, and Ukraine will be able to have a very significant role to play as the leading country in the net zero carbon commitments and as the supplier of the new technologies and as the green supplier of the green hydrogen as the new types of fuel. But once again, this is a perspective, a future perspective. This is not something we will see tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. It requires the investments, but if the state would support this, this is possible. one of the important aspects that were not raised, but the participants of the conference started mentioning the renaissance of the nuclear power plants and nuclear energy, and speaking on the clear technologies and the clear electricity. It's still unclear the role of the nuclear power plants electricity and the green electricity, but based on the prices for gas, based on the lax in development of the green production capacities for electricity, because of all of that, there is a serious rethinking with the role of the natural gas as the transit fuel as part of the net zero carbon and the role of this transitionary period, as this is something which is mentioned by the whole world. Ukraine plays an important role in that because the NPPs play a very crucial role for Ukraine, and I believe that Ukraine has to join this dialogue. Today, new technologies are being developed, and I'm sure you heard about the small modular reactors and new technology that is being developed in the United States, in UK, in France, and China. And this is something that we need to be very serious to, as these technologies shall be used in future. They're applicable not only within the further development of the Energoatom, but the further development of the TPPs, since they can replace the coal in producing this, the electricity. That is why our company will be studying these technologies. This is a perspective of 7 to 10 years. Only one company so far has a proper certificate in the United States. And this company has already signed an agreement with Energoatom. We are also establishing working groups with leaders in the development of this technology. So this is another answer to how we are going to produce the electricity without the use of coal in our TPPs. And we believe that this is the next step in DTEC Energo's development.